In a small village surrounded by golden fields and dusty roads lived a poor farmer named Raghav. He owned a tiny piece of land at the edge of the village. The soil was not very rich, and the rains were often uncertain. While other farmers harvested sacks full of grain, Raghav barely managed enough to feed his family. Every morning before sunrise, Raghav would walk barefoot to his field. He carried an old plow on his shoulder and hope in his heart. But hope, like the monsoon clouds, did not always stay. One year, the rains came too early and washed away his seeds. The next year, they came too late, drying the soil into cracked earth. Some seasons pests destroyed his crops. Other times, market prices fell so low that selling the harvest felt like giving it away. Sitting outside his mud house one evening, Raghav sighed deeply. "Why is life so unfair?" he muttered. His wife Mira, though equally tired, spoke gently. "Maybe our time has not come yet." Raghav shook his head. "How long must we wait for our time?" In the same village lived a wealthy landlord named Mahendra. He owned vast lands, strong oxen, and several workers. His crops always seemed to grow tall and healthy. People respected him, and some even feared him. One day, when Raghav was returning from the market with barely a handful of coins, Mahendra's cart passed by, loaded with sacks of fresh wheat. Mahendra laughed loudly. "Raghav, still struggling? Farming is about skill and timing. Maybe it's not meant for everyone." The words pierced Raghav's heart. That night, he could not sleep. He stared at the roof of his hut and wondered whether he should leave farming altogether. Maybe he should move to the city and work as a laborer. The next morning, as he walked through his dry field, he noticed something unusual. Near a rock in one corner of the land, a tiny green plant had sprouted. It looked fragile but determined. Raghav frowned. He had not planted anything there. Curious, he bent down and examined it. It was a mango sapling. "Strange," he whispered. "How did this grow here? Perhaps a bird had dropped the seed months ago. Or maybe it had been hidden in the soil for years, waiting for the right moment to sprout." Raghav stared at the small plant for a long time. Despite the harsh sun and poor soil, it had chosen this moment to grow. Instead of removing it, he decided to protect it. He built a small fence around it using dry sticks. Every day, along with watering his crops, he poured a little water near the sapling. Days turned into weeks. The sapling slowly grew taller. Its leaves widened and deepened in color. Though his crops that season were average at best, the mango plant flourished. Villagers laughed at him. "Raghav, are you farming mangoes now? By the time it gives fruit, you'll be an old man." Raghav smiled faintly. For the first time, he felt patient. Years passed. Raghav continued farming. Some seasons were bad, some were slightly better. He did not become rich, but he did not quit either. The mango tree grew steadily. Its trunk thickened. Its branches spread wide. One summer, when the tree was nearly 10 years old, tiny white flowers bloomed all over it. The fragrance filled the air around his field. Raghav stood beneath it, amazed. "It's finally happening," he whispered. Months later, small green mangoes appeared. Then they ripened into golden fruit. The tree was loaded beyond expectation. Mira's eyes filled with tears. After so many years, Raghav carefully plucked the mangoes and took them to the market. To his surprise, their taste was extraordinary, sweet, juicy, and fragrant. Word spread quickly. "These are the best mangoes in the district," buyers said. Shopkeepers began to compete for his fruit. That season, Raghav earned more money from the mango tree than he had earned from crops in many years combined. Mahendra, the wealthy landlord, came to see the tree himself. "How did this happen?" he asked, unable to hide his curiosity. Raghav smiled calmly. "I didn't rush it, I just trusted that it would grow when the time was right." Mahendra examined the tree thoughtfully. He realized that while he had focused only on quick profits, Raghav had unknowingly invested in something long-term. Over the next few years, Raghav planted more mango trees along the border of his land. He still grew crops, but the orchard became his main source of income. Slowly, his life began to change. He repaired his house. He sent his children to school. He bought better tools. But he never forgot the years of struggle. One evening, sitting under the now huge mango tree, Raghav spoke to his children. "Do you know why this tree is special?" he asked. Because it made us rich. His son replied excitedly. Raghav chuckled. No, it taught me something greater than money. His daughter tilted her head. What did it teach you, father? He looked up at the branches swaying gently in the breeze. It taught me that life has its own timing. You cannot force a seed to become a tree overnight. You cannot command the rain to fall. You cannot rush fruit to ripen. If you try, you destroy the very thing you want to grow. He paused before continuing. For years, I compared myself to others. I felt unlucky. I felt behind. But while I was worrying, this seed was silently preparing to grow. It waited for the right season. And when that season came, it bloomed fully. His children listened carefully. Sometimes, Raghav said, we think we are failing. But maybe we are just growing roots beneath the surface. The following year brought a severe drought to the village. Crops failed everywhere. Even Mahendra's vast fields dried up. Many farmers fell into debt. But Raghav's mango trees survived. Their deep roots had reached underground water. Though the fruit was fewer that year, it was enough to sustain his family, and even help a few neighbors. For the first time, Mahendra approached Raghav with humility. Will you teach me how to grow mango trees like yours? He asked. Raghav nodded kindly. Of course. But remember, this is not a quick gain. You must be patient. Mahendra agreed. Years later, the village transformed. Mango orchards spread across lands that once struggled with uncertain crops. The village became known for its sweet fruit. Traders came from far cities. People often asked Raghav, how did you know that one small sapling would change your life? He would smile and reply, I didn't know. I just chose not to give up on it. As he grew older, Raghav realized that the tree had mirrored his own life. In his youth, he had felt buried, covered by hardships, doubts, and disappointments. But like a seed beneath the soil, he had been developing strength where no one could see it. Success had not come quickly. It had come quietly. On his 70th birthday, the entire village gathered under the largest mango tree, the very first one. Children played in its shade. Birds nested in its branches. Mahendra, now a friend rather than a rival, stood beside him. You were right all along, Mahendra admitted. Timing matters more than speed. Raghav looked at the crowd, his educated children, his healthy grandchildren, his grateful neighbors. No, he said softly. Trust matters more than timing. When you trust life, you learn to wait. And when you learn to wait, timing works in your favor. As the sun set behind the orchard, golden light filtered through the leaves. The same field that once seemed cursed had become a symbol of patience and faith. And the villagers passed down the story of the poor farmer who did not quit, who nurtured a small sapling, and who trusted that life unfolds in its own season.